So happy, Merry Christmas Eve to all who are watching. I am on my way to work. I'm off tomorrow, but I had to work today. I get off at 4, mercifully. So it is a good thing. Um, Tonight, I will be doing a dedication. I will be on station head. I'm going to do a dedication. Start off as a dedication to rapper Kango Kid, formerly of the group, the 80s rap group UTFO, who passed away this week at the age of 55. But then two more people um, who were very integral in the music scene also passed. So I can't remember the lady's name, but she sang lead on quite a few of the Marvelettes hits, has also passed away. Um, a lead guitarist, and I have their names written down, but I don't have them with me because I'm kind of in a hurry to get to work, not running late. So I've had some adventures this week. Lets me know that Satan is never uh, tiresome in his mess. Also lets me know that I just become stronger when you're determined not to leave Christ, when you're determined not to follow Satan, when you're determined not to be dragged back into anything. It amazes me the number of people who decide to assign themselves against you. Okay? Now, on certain issues, I remember the last church I was in attendance to. The One of the pastors said, "If we are butting heads on an issue, then one of us is facing the wrong way." And I'm like, well, to some degree, that's true. And unfortunately, when you're talking about the male portion of our species who never wants to admit when they're wrong, even when they're wrong. Okay. So I remember having a falling out with a pastor, a former pastor, who is now deceased, mercifully, so he can't hurt any other women. Okay. So people kept appealing to me. And I was like, I didn't start this. Okay. And I think part of my, it's not my problem. Let me put it that way. I hate when people say something's their problem when the problem is the other person. So the only problem, I grew up around men who knew how to clean up where they messed up and didn't have a problem admitting when the problem was them. My uncles and many of my cousins were pretty stand up guys. So when I run into a guy who tries to make everything your fault, whether it's a romantic situation or not, I kind of have problems with it. Okay? Just like running into men who sexually harass, but still continue to keep calling themselves real Christians. Okay? I have a problem with that too. Because I don't cater to men who do that kind of mess. Okay? Don't cater to them. I don't fool with them. I don't fool with pastors who abuse power. If you're going to have that kind of church, then I just won't be part of it. Now, women give serve the power that we keep giving away to them. I recently had to stop following a certain blogger because she kept teaching something called a hotep. And I was like, wouldn't it be better for these women to just not date these guys? Because after a, because over a certain limit of stuff that you do, I'm gonna look at that and go, do I really want that to be a part of my life on a regular basis? Okay, and so, and she defined men who coerce women and hassle women sexually as women not passing a hoe test. And I said, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. Okay, first of all, you don't have to, and if you follow me anywhere, you see where I keep creating the slideshows, courtesy of an app called Ripple. And one of the ones I said is you don't have to earn what someone should not be doing to you. You don't have to fit certain criteria to be able to say no and make that no stick. Whether you have to get a restraining order, whether you have to get a restraining order, whether you have to report them to your HR, human resources. Because some men, if it were left up to some people, and what I, it's funny to me when I hear like Republicans and right wingers get mad about the laws that we have that are meant to protect our human rights. Like I said before, where is the outrage at the men who contribute to these societal situations? No one wants a 15-year-old girl to be able to get no one wants to no one wants a 15-year-old girl to be able to get an abortion without her parents present and without their knowledge. But no one wants to do anything about 25, 26, 27-year-old men who get 15-year-old girls pregnant. Okay? No one wants to do anything about guys who seem to have a problem controlling their penis. These are the same religious spirits that when marital rape became a law and was made a crime, then women will use marital rape to get out of having sex. Well, for one thing, bonehead, married women already have a right to say no to sex. Okay, and I don't really don't like religious guys who have this thing on them that use religion to abuse. I just recently left a situation, and I'm still being harassed in that situation, where the pastor was caught up in human trafficking. Okay, and continued to keep telling other men to call me a prostitute and call me all about my name. First of all, I'm not a prostitute. Now, what they didn't reckon was the fact that I would be one of those women who knew how to say no, because unfortunately, many women don't. Okay, like I said last week, where's the outrage when men do stuff that they have no business doing? And it doesn't have to be the teenage girls. Where's the outrage when men do wrong stuff to grown women? Okay, that's what I have never understood. You're all this outrage because a couple of parents don't have the right to force their daughter to carry a baby to term. Okay, that she's probably too young to take care of. Now, let me say this: I raised a daughter. My daughter, just had my first grandchild, who's now 3. So, if my daughter were 15 and got pregnant, I would want to know about it, and I would want to be whatever she decided to do. I would want her to feel comfortable coming to me and us figuring out the situation together. So I've always tried to cultivate that type of communication, because if a young lady's having to go and have an abortion without telling her parents, that kind of says that there's a bit of a breakdown in communication with her and her parents, which is not good. The problem is people who oppose stuff like that assume that everybody has the same parents and everybody doesn't. Okay? But like I said, where's the outrage that grown men are out here getting 15, 16-year-old, 14, 15-year-old girls pregnant? Where's the outrage that grown men are getting 12-year-olds pregnant? Like I said, if I had my way, parents wouldn't even be able to sign for their kids to get married under the age of 18. Okay? Because it's been corrupted. Because it has been corrupted. Now you have people selling their kids into prostitution or selling their kids into marriage, which is the same, which is human trafficking. So I remember because I was going through a thing at a church where someone tried to force a marriage on me. And so I kind of looked up information on forced marriages because I was like, okay, I don't marry men I don't want to marry. I don't care what your pastor has told you. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. I don't care whatever. Just because you see it and you like it doesn't mean you get it. And I always find that interesting with men that they want women to, quote, be fair. And I did a blog posting where I talked about dating's not fair. Dating is not fair because most modern day dating is based on the person's personal preference. And so you have men, well, because women would rather be with thugs. That is not accurate. For one thing, I get so sick and tired of black men especially propagating that mess. No woman in her youth is saying, well, I would rather mess up my life with Tony over here than deal with Brad, who is more stable. When you're real young, you're still trying to figure out life. Okay? And I'm gonna say this again. God is not allowing men to use your sexual past to pressure you into a sexual relationship or blackmail you sexually. I feel like because I'm getting all these attacks in the spirit realm. And, if they're, and it keeps being witchcraft and it keeps being of a sexual nature. And like I said, no means no. When I was doing Yes All Women, one of the things is I created a bunch of posts and I said, no means no, no matter what your sexual background is. So no matter what dirt someone can dig up on you, the answer is still no. No is still no, no matter what your sexual past is. No is still no, no matter what anybody can dig up on you. No is still no. And I have a new one for you, Satan. I am forgiven. Because whether Christians know it or not, we sit over here and, our faith is one that's forgiveness, redemption of sin, forgiveness of sins, redemption from sin. We teach all this stuff, but our actions pretty much betray what we're taught or what we seem to know because you still have people reaching in that arsenal of bad behavior. I looked at one of the tea bloggers this week, and they were discussing. So, it's now in the news that Megan Good is divorcing her husband, Devon Franklin. And they're really not very forthcoming on the details, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm very curious, like, okay, what brought us here? I know there for a very long time, and some of the most belligerent women in the world are in the church. And they showed a clip of this woman checking Megan Good about her clothes. And Devon Franklin happened to check the woman because he was like, okay, this forum is for questions only. Comment on the blog or take it to your prayer closet. And I always think it's funny when people focus on your clothes so much. Okay, especially with women. I had to defend my daughter because my daughter, like me, likes to wear leggings. And so one of the older women in my apartment complex was like, they wear that because they trying to get the attention of men, trying to get male attention, and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, first of all, that's not why my daughter is wearing what she's wearing. And at the time, my daughter was only about like Sora was only about 14 or 15. And so I'm like, first of all, she doesn't want your raggedy old husband. Okay, my daughter wears what she wants, just pretty much like I used to do, and kind of like now. You wear what you feel fits you, and makes you feel attractive, and makes you feel good about yourself if you're trying to dress cute. You know, my daughter doesn't dress to attract guys. She wears what she wears so she can feel good about herself. If guys look, well, that's the secondary part of the equation, but it's not the main equation for her. And it usually isn't for most women. Most people are dressing. If you look at how people are dressed, they're dressed for the direction that they're heading. If they're going to the gym, they'll have on gym clothes. If they're going to work, they'll have on work clothes. If they're dressing for where they're on their way to. And so I always think it's so interesting when people want to make, you know, a problem out of women's clothes. I always got the um, I always got the impression from Megan Good that, that she was sincere. She was sincere about her faith, that she was really trying to, and she has a confession they both do of having abstained from sex until they got married. So, because I teach abstinence and I'm still abstinent, I'm still saving it. Despite the Apostolic Church's best efforts at trying to harass me out of it, and that's a discussion for another day, because I never understand men who think that the way to get next to you is to continue to keep battering you. Okay, but some men are stupid and never learn. So, yeah, and yes, I named names because I don't cover up. I don't cover up for idiots. So, I'm close to work. If I have time, I may go live a little bit later after I get off work and discuss something. I had a little bit of car trouble this week, and people's response to your car breaking down in the middle of the road has always been very interesting to me, because many people act like you purposely came to their neighborhood and told your car, well, break down right here. Break down right here, several miles away from home, clear across town, and break down right here in the middle of the street, so there where there's cars behind you and block traffic. Yeah, this is what I tell my car to do, right? So I broke down over here this week, and my car stopped right in it. So right now where I am is Worthington. So my car broke down, and on the street that I was on, which I'm not gonna name, it was like in a housing development, a neighborhood. So my car is broken down and it's like not going any further. It's like Rihanna, which is my car's name, said, this is as far as I go in the condition that I'm in. If you want me to do anything else, you have got to get me to a shop and do what needs to be done to get me back up and running, which I'm happy to say, as you can see, she's back up and running. God did a thing this week, even though the devil is doing everything he can to muddy it up. So I stopped, and this little old guy, this little old school bus driver, white guy, decides to come and yell and scream at me. Now, I'm not a crier in regards to that. If you come and you yell and scream and cuss at me, there's a chance I'm going to be tempted to yell and scream and cuss back. Okay? I'm not one of these people that is afraid of white males because I don't subscribe to this attitude that white males have a right to talk to you any old kind of way they want to simply because they're white males, even though there are white males who seem to have that attitude. Okay, and if you're a white male listening, yeah, I'm talking about your demographic. I had over the years I have watched too many of y'all who seem to think that because you are paid or above a certain income level or whatever it is, or just simply because you're white, that you have a right to just curse people out and say whatever you want to say to the person and be dead wrong. It's not even like the person be done anything to you to warrant what you're doing. You're just doing it because you're racist and because you think you have a right to just talk to people any old kind of way you want to. So I'm sitting there in my car. I contacted my work to let them know, well, I'm not coming in. Not coming in today because, I have no car. I needed to take my car back to the shop. So I'm sitting there, and this guy decides that it's time to yell and cuss at me. Well, can't you move it over into that driveway or blah blah? I'm like, sir, my car isn't going anywhere. Like, if I could move it out your way just to get away from you, I would, but I can't. So anyway, so he threatens to call the police on me, like my car is going to respond to threats and intimidation. I'm like, stalled cars don't have a tendency to do that. Once a car breaks down, it doesn't care who you call because it's still not going anywhere unless you push it. So I'm just sitting here and listening to all of this, and I said, you know what? With all the yelling and everything that you're doing at me, if you don't leave me alone, I'm calling the cops on you. Okay? Now, because of the whole white privilege and all of the power imbalances that it brings, I think he was very shocked to hear a black woman threaten to call the cops on him. Okay? However, since I'm stranded and I'm by myself and you're a male that I don't know, not only that, you're driving a school bus, which I have a real problem with anybody who does all of that, and you got a school bus full of impressionable children, regardless of age, that you're in charge of. So he was really pissing me off. Anyway, at one point he decided to go ahead, get back in his bus, and go around me, which is what he should have done in the first place, and roll on. And the police did come, but they just wound up putting some cones around me and waiting with me until AAA came. So Worthington cops or whatever, they were very, very courteous. Okay. Anyway, I'm almost at work now. So tonight I will be broadcasting Christmas Eve. Um, I will be doing a Christmas Eve broadcast. Sometime this evening, I'm going to get my presents wrapped. I probably should have went ahead and started wrapping some of them already. I've been waiting for. I have some other stuff I have some other stuff coming along with the remainder of my Christmas. So tonight I will be broadcasting. So even though the majority of the broadcast is going to be Kango Kid with UTFO and some of the other groups that he managed over the years, I'm also going to talk about the other deceased that lost their battle with life this week. The information that I am going to be discussing comes off of a YouTube channel and website called Legacy. And And so they do a pretty thorough job of discussing, what we call notable people, notable mentions, people that had lost their lives, and other people who there might be, celebrating the anniversary of their death, as well as celebrating some of their birthdays. So there are going to be some of that mentioned as well. I will not be doing this on a regular basis. Um, I don't, and not to say that they do, but my focus is, I like to remember people like, who have been notable in the music world that have, extended their giftings to bless us all with their giftings. So, um, anyway, so I'm here at work, and I'm gonna go ahead and go in. I will talk to you guys later. You all have a blessed Christmas Eve, and enjoy your Christmas tomorrow. Enjoy your holiday tomorrow. I will talk to you later. Bye bye.